Hey guys, this is Ivan with OverlookeDENT, and in today's video we're going over Monostables 101. Bam! Alright, so this was requested by Raleigh Norton. I think he was watching, I think it was the T Flip-Flops 101, and he was like, hey, why don't you do one on monostable circuits? And I was like, yeah, that's a good idea. So that's what we're working on today. So, Monostables 101, I'm going to tell you the little tiny bit of knowledge that I have of these things, okay? So, the one technical thing that I do know of them is that basically monostable means that it's stable in one state, which makes sense because, you know, mono means one. But yeah, then I'll explain it real quick, okay? I'm not going to like build these in the sense of a tutorial. If you see a piston with an emerald block, that means it is a sticky piston. That's a sticky piston. That's a sticky piston. This is a sticky piston. This is a sticky piston. This is also a sticky piston, but it's not like part of the circuit. It's just the output, so, you know, just kind of realize that. Alright, so let's start. There's a couple different monostable circuits. What they do really is they put out a short pulse. I like to look at them in two ways, actually. It's kind of weird. I like to look at them in the sense that they make a button act like a lever act like a button, and in certain setups they can make a button act like a lever, like a T flip-flop. But generally speaking, you know, lever, it makes it act like a button. Okay, so let me grab some of these so you guys can see it. Alright, so there's several types. This is a rising edge monostable circuit. And this is a falling edge monostable circuit. And this is a dual edge monostable circuit. And then let me explain the difference and how I know that they are the way that they are. In the sense of a lever is basically the indication that I know whether I'm making it. Like I made this one and I thought I invented it, and come to find out from the forums that I did not, and then I learned that it was a dual edge. This one has been around for quite some time, but the way that I know that it's a, you know, rising edge or a falling edge is the position of a lever. So in the case of this, since it's only, you know, stable in one state, in this state it's when it's the lever is above, or rising, I guess, elevated. So look, nothing happens when it goes down. When it goes up, it works. So when it's down, nothing happens. When it goes down, it works. In the sense of, you know, I'm trying to tell you guys that it's creating a pulse like a button. For example, nothing happens. See the light blinked? On, off, button like, right? Yep. Alright, so this one, falling edge, the lever is in the down position. So that's how I know that it's a falling edge monostable, because when it goes up, nothing happens. When it goes down, something happens. Same thing, as you can tell. So again, awesome about one tick pulses actually is they release, actually they don't release the block so much as they don't bring the block back. You see that? It pulsed button like up down, but it didn't retract the block that it was attached to it. So that mechanic is fantastic for different things. Alright, so here's this again, falling edge. One tick pulse unlatches the block. Alright, so here's this one. Here's this one. There we go. Dual edge, actually, like I said, I made this and I was very proud of this, and then I come to find out this is a very normal thing. I actually did this when I was working on wiring a day-night sensor. So this is a dual edge. Why? Because in both states it creates a pulse. So let me put this here so you guys can see the light in the pulse. So up state, as in a rising one, it creates a pulse. On the lower one, it creates a pulse. These also, unless the lever is actually turned on and it's activating and messing with the redstone, they work with buttons as well, okay? Now you might be like, oh, well, what's the point of a button acting like a button? Well, at least in the case of this, it's a button acting like a button, creating a one-tick pulse, which detaches the block. So that can be helpful for whatever you find it to be helpful for you. See? Alright. This one, yeah, just, I mean, same principle. It just creates, in both states, you know, it has something to do with the circuit. This one here, button-wise, same difference. Alright, so, this is basically this over here. But then I'm going to show you, and then I'm going to show you another example of this. So I like to use monostables from time to time to make a lever act like a button. I'm sorry, a button act like a lever. So like a T flip-flop. So for example, we have the monostable circuit here, and what this is going to do with the one tick pulses, it's going to detach this block over here, and it's going to be above the torch, so it's going to create power through it because that's what it does, and it's going to power that on. So a button acting like a lever because it's holding the signal. Button again, no longer holding the signal. So basically acting like a lever. There's some fancier monostable circuits like this, for example. It's predetermined for 4 buttons or 4 presses before it has any kind of output. So look at this. 1, 2, 3, and 4. You see it pulse over there? So you can mess with this kind of scenario and then create different kind of timings. This would be kind of cool for like if it was attached to, you know, a death countdown thingy like I have, and a bunch of other things, you know, depending. You guys use your imagination. This here is if you don't have any sticky pistons, you can still have monostable circuits. So there's sand, and that's a normal piston. That one's sticky just to illustrate that it's detaching the block, and therefore a monostable circuit. Alright, so in the sense of this one, it does that, and it doesn't do anything there, so it does something there. Alright. Whether this is here or not has no bearing on it, so let me show you, for example. Now the glowstone is here, but it doesn't do anything to the output until this is lowered. So what is that? That's a falling edge monostable circuit. So again, that's how I learned it. Just positions of the lever with, you know, what type it is. So yeah, and this is actually like this is one that Feeks taught me a long time ago. I've actually used it on this is actually what happened. I used this one on my first etho door, and then I used this one on the second etho door because this one became non-directional. It used to be directional, but it's sexy and it's one wide. But since this one was really consistent in every direction, I used it for the very first one because back then that one was directional. But the reason why I want to highlight this one is because it's one tall. So there might be a circuit in which you want a monostable circuit, or you want a T flip-flop, let's say. And you know, the one wide is sexy and all, but you know, it's tall. You know, all things considered, when this goes up, it's too tall. So this is one tall. But yeah, again, perfect example of how I would use something like this as a T flip-flop. So, and it's super fast instead of the old school T flip-flop. And actually, I think I might have showcased this on T flip-flops 101. But it's a monostable circuit. So again, button acting like a lever. It's a T flip-flop. So then I'll stick a torch there, and let's replace this with a solid block. And now we have an output. Okay. Let's pretend that this is a door. And so normally a button would make a door go open, close, but with the T flip-flop or this monostable circuit, whatever you want to call it, it is acting like a lever. So let's say now the door is open because the light is on and we want to close it, and it's closed. And all because this is dropping the block, which was the same example of the thing over here, except this is one wide. This is not, but this is, you know, shorter, and that's taller. But yeah, that's it. So I hope you guys liked the video. As always, subscribe up top, and peace out.